So I never thought that I would be living in a timeline where politicians were so mask off about their fetish with killing other people. Now, of course, we had, Nazis, and throughout history, this has been a theme. Obviously, the persecution of minorities. But in my lifetime, maybe it's just because I was ignorant when I was a kid or whatever, but I feel like I never heard or read about, uh, you know, elected officials within the United States, at least, who were so willing to have other people killed because of who they were. Um, that was something that I've read recently uh, that actually happened. Of course, as a Republican, that's like the law of nature for them to, fetishize killing other people, specifically minorities. But this story, well, it's not really, I guess it is a story, but like it's more just something a Republican said. So uh, what this person said is so mask off. It's honestly insane. Um, so let's look at this, shall we? All right. So if you look here, this is in Mississippi, okay? um, okay. Ex-GOP governor candidate calls for firing squad for trans rights supporters and political foes. This is quite the headline. Robert Foster, who I don't know who the hell that is, but here we go. A former Mississippi House lawmaker who lost a 2019 bid for governor is using his social media platform to call for the execution of political foes who support the rights of transgender people. Now, this is the tweet. Some of y'all still want to try and find political compromise with those that want to groom our school-aged children and pretend men are women, etc. I think they need to be lined up against wall before a firing squad to be sent to their early judgment. So it goes on here to describe him, and um, this kind of rhetoric has been commonplace among Republicans, especially recently. And I think we all kind of knew that they implicitly just were disgusted by trans people, and at the end of the day, they just want trans people to, be gone, to not exist. Um, and it's interesting that they took it a step further with those who support that as well. I mean, it's all the same to them at the end of the day, but this idea, there's this common narrative that's been taking place among the GOP of that, uh, that there are people a part of the LGBTQ community who are grooming children, that they're pedophiles and all that stuff. And I feel like it's very easy for Republicans to dehumanize. This is all an attempt at dehumanizing trans people. And I think it's easy for them to do that because the representation that trans people has had in history and in our society right now is uh, not as commonplace, and has never been really that commonplace. So people, it's easy to like paint them as the other, and that's one of the mechanisms by which Republicans are able to dehumanize certain groups of people. So for them, this is pretty. This is something they are comfortable with. Now, there have been over 200 anti-LGBTQ pieces of legislation within this year, 2022, and we're 4 months and 2 days into the year. So it's truly remarkable, this surge that we are witnessing right now uh, with the anti-LGBTQ legislation. So I feel like the conclusion we can draw from this is simply that Republicans want first and foremost, they want trans people gone. They don't want them to exist ever or at all. Um, and this could be reinforced to some extent by this uh, thing that happened in Texas not even a month ago. Uh, they are very much trying to make trans people not exist. That is the end goal of their ideology. I mean, seriously, these people would honestly have no qualms over leading, trans people and homosexuals to the gas chambers if it ever was politically feasible. They would have no qualms whatsoever about that. So yeah, I mean, this shit is extremely inexcusable, of course, and um, we really need to put our pedal to the metal with respect to fighting against this stuff because it's obviously despicable. And I could share some other stories as well. I mean, I covered this on stream, I think last week or maybe it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks ago actually, where Idaho's bill HB 625, I think, was making it essentially a crime to be transgender. And for those who cross state lines to seek gender affirming care, Idaho was going to make that, or attempting to make that, a felony punishable up to a life in prison. So this is what I mean. They don't want trans people to exist. And this whole push for in this direction right now with this legislation um, is rooted obviously in bigotry, but it would be foolish to only attribute bigotry to this surge, because I feel like they are doing this also for the purpose of distracting from other things that the GOP are attempting or planning on doing. This could be anything. It could be disenfranchisement, voting laws, like economic things. So, I mean, Republicans love using the culture war to distract from other issues. That is something that does take place. But again, it's a mixture of multiple factors, right? It's that, obviously, it's the bigotry. So, look, at the end of the day, um, I feel like Republicans just want people dead. I mean, is it really that much of a stretch? They also had this right here where they voted no against lowering costs of insulin, and it's like, okay, um, it just seems to me that Republicans want people dead. How can this be excused? Like I know that the main point of this segment, at least, is to talk about the LGBTQ stuff, but I think there's a common denominator we're seeing here, with Republicans. They just don't want people who are inconvenient to them to be alive, um, or that they find disgusting. I mean, it's really truly remarkable. Yeah, I don't know. There's really not much more for me to say. Interestingly enough, there were more yays, I think, than were projected on the. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about the legislation on weed, which recently took place. It passed the House, I think, and there were more yays on that than was projected, I believe. But with this, I don't know what was projected. But it's really truly remarkable that so many Republicans voted no. I mean, if you're in touch with politics, it's really isn't that surprising, I guess. But it's just like, I think the thing that takes me back is like how openly honest they are about how much they don't give a shit about helping people, or being bigots. It's I mean, I guess they're playing to their base. I don't know, because they keep getting reelected and shit. So and oh boy, these midterms are going to be rough too, for Democrats. So it's going to only get worse. But anyway, I guess the point of this segment is Republicans are human scum that want trans people to be, on the firing squad. And that they just don't want them to exist. And also, we need to do everything we can to push against that kind of bigotry and, discrimination through the law and, so on and so forth. Because we're going to keep seeing this happening. Unfortunately, for the foreseeable future, especially if Republicans win the House and the Senate in the midterms. So yeah, let's just the best thing we can do right now is protest. Keep fighting back against this, and do everything we can to stop it.